Hey, welcome to Rust Revival Garage. My name is Tim. They always say that the last 10% of the things you have to do take up 90% of your time, or whatever that is. But I got a lot of little stuff to take care of today. I need to get the wiper motor back on. I need to get the steering wheel back on. I need to get the dash put back together. I need to fix this antenna. Bunch of little things, but things that I've got to get done. So let's get to it. I think I just unscrew this to get the antenna part off. Alright, so that's loose. Alright, so that's up. Here's the old one, beat to hell and back. Here's my new one, but man, is this torn up. I think these tabs have pushed on the metal. This has been hit hard a couple times. I'm going to see if I can twist this around, get it down in there, and then tighten this back down again with the new gasket. Alright, so I was able to tighten it, but I'm going to see if I can carefully tap this metal back down again. Tape's doing more harm to the crappy paint than the pounding is. There is no access to that. God, without taking the fender off, what are you supposed to do? Alright, what I think I'm going to do is just see if I can tighten the base once again with the new gasket on here. Hopefully that helps. Okay, now I think I might actually have it too low. Alright. Raised it up a little bit. I'm finally able to tighten it. Well, this will work. I'm only going to be able to get it finger tight, I think. But it's better than it was. And there's a new gasket on there. So that's done. Alright, so I need to get my console back on and get that fastened down after I got the neutral safety switch figured out. But this has got to go back in, and then I can start tackling the dash. Got the little bolt in up there. Now I've just got these. There's two back here, one right there, and I'll have this back down again. Okay, that's back on. Now I'm doing something I'm not looking forward to, putting my speedometer cable back in. When I put the dash back up, there was no space, and it wasn't long enough, so I couldn't stretch it out and attach it. I just had to put it in, figuring I could go back and put it in later. But let's take a look. Speedometer cable is in here somewhere. Oh God. Alright, I can't do the camera and this, but I've got to figure out how to get my hand in there, not being able to see it, and put that cable back in. Alright. If you've ever watched this channel, you know nothing ever goes easy for me, but this one just did. I just reached up in there with just my fingers. It was all I could fit in there. I felt the cable, and I sort of just pushed it in, started turning it, and I didn't cross-thread it, luckily, but I started feeling it, and it went in. And honestly, it's the easiest thing I've ever done, and I thought it was going to be one of the hardest things I had to do. So my speedometer cable's hooked back up. That's cool. Okay, got this sealed down nice and tight. This one was missing. I got my radio dials back on. I think I just need to get the steering wheel tightened back up, and then we can put on the dash pad. Help if I had it in the right way. Okay, just need to get the 3 bolts in there, I think. Okay, the dash pad is installed. It's starting to look like a car again. Get these up in there. Get that nice, get this nice and tight, and then we can put the steering wheel back on. I don't remember how this one went in there, but if you know better, let me know. You know what? I bet it goes like that. Looks like it might be a 9/16. I wonder if that isn't some kind of an adjustment piece. I don't know. Alright, steering wheel is secure. Alright, getting things back to normal. Okay, one of the other little things I need to take care of is my hazard switch. I actually broke it off at some point years ago and got a new little kit so I can put that in. Pretty much it is a spring that goes down in this little holder. And this is the button that turns it on. That goes on top of the spring. And then, so it's got a little push to it. And then I've just got a little screw that goes in through there. All right, so you just push the button in and then it releases it. That's good to go. God, that thing looks big and ugly. It didn't used to be that big, I don't think. Oh well. The other thing I'm concerned about with my horn is I'd kind of taken things apart to see what was going on in here. I did find the 2 wires that go to the horn buttons out here. However, these are going into a sort of spring that pushes down through here, but it's broken. This little plastic piece right there, there's like a shard sticking up that's really pointy. But the spring itself doesn't look great. But I'm wondering if this is why the horn didn't work before. Somebody had installed a horn button down here. You can see the holes still. And that the horn did work that way. But I'd like to be able to get this to work again, so I may need to purchase new wiring for this. All right, I think I got it. This is on. Spring is in there. Let's try it again. All right, it can be done, but I'm going to probably need somebody to freaking hold it down for me. All right, so I've got the steering wheel back on. It was a nightmare, but it's nice and tight in here. I need to get this tightened up. The problem I'm having is with this. This plastic piece with the spring on it, nobody makes. They have kits everywhere for the horn contact, for the wood steering wheel and the sport steering wheel. This is the deluxe steering wheel that has the buttons on both sides. $110 and it comes with the spokes and the buttons and the wires. And it replaces this little broken plastic piece that I've got. So I'm going to have to live with that. Maybe I can tape this up at the top to the length that where it's broken at and be able to put it down in here to make the contact. But this don't exist. That's not an option for me. And I think it's because it's got the wires. So I'll have to see if I can get this to work again. But at least the steering wheel is back in place. Console's back in. Everything is looking good up here. I ordered the seats today. So I'm getting 2 new seats to put in the front. Actually, let's test something. Maybe plug in the battery and see if the horn just stays on or how that's going to work. Because this doesn't feel very springy at all. God, I can see where I have a case where I plug this in and the horn is just constantly on. Okay, the horn's not constantly on, but does it work? No. Nope, no horn. All right, got that back on. good to go in here. Steering wheel done, dash done. On to the next. Okay, it's time to get the wiper motor back in. Got a new wiper motor gasket, got some new hardware and the strap, grounding strap. So yeah, I went ahead and ran down one of the bolts in there to make sure I had a decent ground. So all 3 points I ran it in to hopefully clear out any dirt and paint that might be in there. Gotta get the old ratty one out of there. Along with that old ground strap. Okay, so the old one's out. Get the new one back in. Okay, got the new ones in. Now the ground strap. Pretty sure this one gets bent down. Alright, so it looks like I need to take this part out. There we go. So I got it mounted under the metal part. And I'm hoping that's a good enough ground. Okay, got that on. Alright, so I've got that attached. Now I'll just need to reconnect everything from the other side. Okay, so how do you know you're an idiot when you forget to do something that you should have done before you put something back together? Any idea what I might have forgotten here? Maybe this? Maybe that should have been on there before I put this back on? Alright, so I got that back on. Man, I hate doing something twice. I really do. Alright, the next thing I need to do is get this grate out. What's funny is I thought somebody put chicken wire in when the old one stuff failed, so I ordered new and they sent more chicken wire. I had no idea that something so crappy was used, but it is. Oh yeah, one of the things I'm gonna need to do is replace these really old wiper blades. Alright, so let's see what... I think it's just a matter of hooking this back up to that. Okay, while we're here, I wanted to sort of take a look at this. I haven't looked at it in a while. It's a 68. 2 is the Pontiac. 3.7, I believe, is the Le Mans. The one thing that strikes me is this says BF, which I think is the Bobby Fischer plant, but I think that's in Massachusetts. And I thought from my research, this car was from the Fremont plant in California, and I thought it was pretty much a California car its entire time. But I didn't look up the trim types, but I'm pretty sure it was a bucket seat, hardtop. This is the one, this is the actual true color. The Pontiac, I think it's called metallic green. It's the forest green metallic. So you can kind of see, it looks pretty goldish right here. So somebody gave this a $199 Earl Scheib kind of crap paint job. with the maroon. But it was originally that sort of goldish green color you can kind of see here. Okay, I plugged them in and they didn't just take off running, so that's a good sign. Which means that they're not like set to be always on or whatever. But let's see, let me see if I can check the power. Alright, so I've turned it on. Let's check the wipers. Hearing a clicking noise. So I think that's supposed to be off. That's supposed to be 1 speed. That's supposed to be 2. But nothing's happening. Could be the motor itself. Could be the ground. Huh. Like I said, I wired this, so it is not surprising, but then I'm also kind of concerned about the ground. Alright, so I'm touching one part of the motor, one part of the wiring, and it's coming up at like 9 to 10. Another wire, 0.2, 0.3. Another wire, not much. So there's like power coming to this. Wonder how I would test a ground. So I'm not grounding it out. Huh. Maybe it's the motor itself. Okay, I wired up from positive to my battery, negative to ground, grounded both of the wires, and when I take this one off, it parks. So there it's running. It works. There is somehow maybe the wiring and or my ground, but this is still good. However, I did pull this switch out accidentally, and this thing is hanging on by a literal thread. Alright, it worked, but I'm going to replace it. So I plugged in my original 3. Got the power onto the car, battery hooked up, and I'm smoking. But it does work. Well, it did work. I think it just smoked itself out. Alright. Yeah, I was actually able to get it to run, so I think the power is correct. It's just that piece that's down there that's causing a problem. Alright, so I do need to get a new motor. Unfortunately, it's just the wiring. It's not the motor itself. Alright, so Napa had what I needed. Pretty much just got the motor only. And I think I'm going to go ahead and test it while I've got it out. So this one I just realized has its own ground straps and mounting stuff, so I basically spent money for that for nothing. But let's test her out. Alright, I've got my plug back in. Let's ground it out. That's not a good sign. Okay, I got my little wiring units set up. So it does work. Well, that's strange. Alright, so I eliminated some of the wiring. I took out the 2 wires that went to this because it was kind of confusing me. Now I just have the constant power, I've got high, and I've got low. And that's it. Now I've got it on low right now. I'm going to touch my ground. She's running in low. Going to turn it up to high. Running in high. Whew. Okay, got this back together and just need to put it back up on the firewall. Hopefully I've got a decent ground. Okay, they work, but they're not parking correctly. There's on. Alright, so I gotta figure that out, but they do work, but they're not parking. There we go. Played around with the wiring a little bit. Now it seems to work just fine. Got it all taped back up. Doesn't look great right there, but I'll fix that later. So that is going to do it. Some of the little projects taken care of. Again, not very exciting. Thank you very much for watching this to this point, if you still are watching. But got the wiper motor in. Wipers are working. Got the dash in. Got the speedometer cable hooked back up. Got the steering wheel back on. All the little things. The antenna got fixed up. So yeah, a lot of little projects, but they have to be done. So thank you very much for tuning in. Subscribe if you can, because I got a big project coming up next. Wonder what it could be. I just got 2 big boxes. So what I'm working on next is here. Wonder what it could be. Hard to tell. Big boxes though. 2 of them. So yeah, if you're subscribed, you'll hopefully get a notification and you'll see the video pop up. And so yeah, I'd appreciate it if you could subscribe. That'd be really cool. Like it if you got anything out of it. Give me a comment down below if you've got questions and or suggestions. Thank you very much for tuning in, and we will catch you next time.